Hey everyone, Emily here and welcome to my kitchen. It's been a little while since I've posted and I have some pretty good excuses for it. As you can see, we have moved, so I have a new kitchen. Been super busy packing, moving, organizing, and we're also expecting, so I have been super tired on top of that. So now that we're kind of getting back into everything, I want to try a recipe that I was meaning to do a few weeks ago. I wanted to do it when the baby was the size of an onion. We're kind of past that stage at this point, onto the sweet potato, almost into the banana stage. But I still want to give this recipe a try. I've been seeing it all over TikTok, and it's the viral 2-ingredient onion rings. All you need is an onion and Parmesan cheese, and it looks super good. Now on top of that, you can also make the 2-ingredient fried pickles the exact same way. So it's gonna be kind of like a 2-for-1. We'll give this a try, see how it comes out. I'm really excited to get going. So I already have my oven preheating to 400 degrees, and the first thing I'm gonna do is get started on my onion rings. So I'm going to begin by slicing up my onion, and the first thing that I'll do is cut off the top and the bottom and then remove the skin. So I'll just kind of slice very thinly, very shallowly into that outer layer, and then just make that skin a little bit easier to peel off. I'm also gonna end up getting that first layer of the onion, but that's okay. Next, I'm going to slice up my onion. Now you don't wanna do this too thin because as it cooks down, it's going to get just a little bit thinner already, but you don't want to do it too thick because you do want the onion to cook through. So I would say probably slices that are, I don't know, about that thick. And I will just do that for my whole onion. I am using a pretty large baking pan because I'm gonna try both the onion rings and the fried pickles, but you can definitely use a smaller pan or even use half an onion just to make a smaller serving. But I'm going to line this with a sheet of parchment paper so nothing sticks. Next, I'm just going to layer on some Parmesan cheese. Now this is pre-grated, and I'm gonna kind of do a mix of this cheese that's kind of in those shavings. I had some left over I need to use up, and some that is more finely shredded. You can also use fresh Parmesan cheese that you shred yourself, but I already happen to have this in the fridge. And I'm just going to evenly cover the entire sheet with a pretty thin layer of the Parmesan. You want it to cover most of the surface, but it is okay and definitely preferable if you still have a few gaps where you can see the parchment. Now on top of this, I'm going to do a layer of my onions, and I'm going to keep them whole in their kind of full circles here. So a little bit different than traditional onion rings where you would separate out each ring. These, I guess, are more like onion wheels. So we have our onion rings about half done, and I have a little space saved on the side for our fried pickles. So for these, I'm going to lay a piece of paper towel on a plate and just take a few slices of pickles and lay those down so I can dry them off a little bit. And these are my absolute favorite pickles, and I get them at Target, but you can use whatever you want. And then I will just pat these dry. So from there, I will take my dried off pickle slices and just place those again right on top of my Parmesan cheese. And then I will finish this off with just another layer of the Parmesan. I'll use up the rest of my little cheese shavings and then move on to the shredded cheese. And you just need to do another thin layer just so there is something coating the top. Now that is coated enough, and I'm gonna go ahead and pop these in a 400-degree oven. The cheese is going to kind of crisp up and become the really crispy outside of the onion rings and the fried pickles. and then hopefully everything kind of cooks through in that time as well. I'm going to put this in for 20 minutes. I'll probably check on it at around 15 and then again at 20, see if it needs a few more, but I am already excited to give these a try. This is a look at how the onion rings and fried pickles are doing as of 15 minutes. There's still 5 minutes on the timer. I want to see the cheese looking a little bit more brown and crisp, so we'll give it that extra 5 minutes and see if it needs even a little bit more time. All right, I just took my onion rings and fried pickles out of the oven. I gave them another 1.5 minutes just to get a little bit of extra brown on there. And if you were to touch this right now, not only would this be super hot, but the cheese would also be pretty pliable. So we're gonna let this cool off, and that's going to kind of give the cheese some time to become a little bit crispier, and these will be cool enough to handle and try out. But they already smell so good, so I can't wait to give these a try. This has had some time to cool off, and so as you can see, the cheese is kind of on that crispier side and definitely breaks apart super easy. So I'm going to slice everything up, and then we're gonna give the onion rings and the fried pickles a try. So I'll just kind of cut through here, and this works out pretty well since in between the onion rings, it's still on the warmer side. Not too hot that you can't touch it, but it's just warm enough that it's still a little bit pliable so that you can cut it. And it's not just going to break right apart. And these are looking really good. I am so excited to give these a try. Now overall, these look amazing and they smell really good. And I know they're gonna taste good too. But my initial impression is I wish they were crispier. So I gave them a little extra time. I would probably give them even a little bit more. You don't want to burn them, and I kind of felt like I was running the risk of burning them. You can see a couple pieces here of the cheese are already on like the really crispy brown side. So I don't know if maybe turning the oven temp down to like 375 and just cooking them for longer might kind of help things out. But it's not the biggest deal in the world. They could be a little crispier, but I think they're still gonna be really good. So let's give these a try. I will go for, I think, one of the onion rings first, and here's what I mean. It's not crispy at all. The cheese has a little crisp to it, but the whole thing is kind of wiggly. It is super good though. Really good. The flavor is totally there. Tastes like an onion ring, kind of. Overall, really fantastic. Now we're on to the fried pickles. So this is what these are looking like, if you can see that here. There's a nice little layer of cheese on the outside. These feel a little crispier compared to the onions. I think it's because there's just a little bit less moisture in them. That was probably the biggest problem with the onion rings. So let's see how these taste. I think they're also gonna be really good. These are amazing. The onion rings needed a little extra time. This was like the perfect amount of time for the fried pickles. I don't know if you could hear that, but there was definitely more of a crunch with that one. So good. Overall, I would give these like a solid 8 out of 10. They are so good, but they're just not as crispy as you would want them to be, especially for the onion rings. I think I could redo it and make them a little bit better, but if you're following the recipe as you see it online, they're just not turning out crispy enough. So that's really my only complaint. Otherwise, the flavor is fantastic, and I would definitely make these again. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell icon so you can get notified every time I post. As always, you can find the full recipe to this down in the description box below, along with links to all of my social media pages so you can follow along for more cooking content throughout the week. Hope to see you back here next time.